Yes.
I don't know why I feel like Dr. Grace Sigiri should be on this show.
What are you?
I don't know. Wait.
I'm here to understand your intent.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's looking as if agriculture can meet politics.
How?
At some point. Okay. Just because maybe kickstarting this program may want to seem like it's a shaky feat. Let's start real talk. No reflections for today. So please take that into account.
Because everybody
is
reflecting. A reason to reflect. But so, everybody is not interested in that whole whatever.
No. We're working. We're public servants. We're at it.
Simple.
Let's go to work. So today on Real Talk, we start by reminding you that.
Hip hip hip.
Hooray! People thought he was joking, but he meant every word.
Have you asked yourself, do you think I am even interested in going back there? I want to ask you, don't you see how better I look? Do you think I'm interested in it? If I have my way, I say it's here. This is the altar of God. I don't wish going back there. My spirit has left that place long ago. So all this, I want everybody to focus, please. It's not everything you do, you think. There's some fights you don't fight, there's some things you don't do, because you need to ask the person. Does he want it? Have peace.
Governor Siminalaye Fubarade preempting, or should I say, having concluded the thought that he may likely play the card his own way, leaving the People's Democratic Party into the All Progressives Congress, and then the screening exercise commenced. Of course, the movement witnessed from his followers as well with him into the APC. The screening commenced. For every other person, there was a comment either from their handlers or what have you. But in the governor's instance, the only comment we got, 2 letter words or 3, no comments, was the summary of what happened. And since then, Rivers State has been placed on the predictive list up until the late evening of yesterday, when the world got to know that he has mentioned that he would not be participating in the primaries of the All Progressives Congress. Where does that leave us as a people in Rivers State?
Because the governor said he doesn't want to run for a second term.
Some people insist they will pursue him.
Pursue him for what?
To run. You remember how the wife of former President Lokebile Jonathan says, "When begin, no pass school, you go repeat."
Well, let me go straight to answering your question. Where does yesterday's declaration by the Rivers State Governor, His Excellency, Sir Aboku Senibo Siminalaye Joseph Fubara, SSRS, where does it leave Rivers State? It leaves us with a decision. A decision that is not based on some belief that somebody had anointed a candidate, foisted sin on the people, and fell out with that candidate. A decision that will be made absent of any other belief on or in a certain structure alone as the only name given by which men and women of Rivers State must be saved. It leaves Rivers State at the crossroads of a future that has been brought close. It should have been another 4 years, right? But now you have a buy-off. You have an extra. You have a discount to decide for yourself from compound level to ward level to local government level to district level and to state level. Decide for yourself. You're not waiting for another 4 years to say, okay, don't worry, after 4 years now, this will now go. It is now your time, your turn to decide as a Rivers man, as a Rivers woman, if you want to live in Rivers State or Reverse State, as the case may be. All right? So it's a decision-making moment. Thankfully to some people and in some quarters, the governor has washed his hands off this one. So you would not say, now because I like sin. Take yourself back the history line, Ade. As at 2022, many persons were of the view that, oh, Wike had done so well, but can he please go without putting a new headband on our heads? That was a thought in some quarters. I also recall monitoring the elections on that fateful day, gubernatorial elections in Rivers State. I traversed about 4 LGAs that Saturday morning, and we witnessed very low voter turnout. Why? There was the angst in the hearts of people over what had happened with the presidential elections, a few days earlier. And so there was that belief that, oh, if this could go this way, there's no need of coming out again. And there were threats as well. We also want to look at the build-up to the election in 2022, where certain names, known names, were mentioned and, were bandied as persons who may succeed under the PDP, Nyesom Wike at the time as governor. None of these men was picked up. And at that point, a Sinyalayi Fubara, with some questions from the EFCC dangling over his head, had to be anointed. We hear that forms were bought for everybody, except for one or two decided to play stubborn. But long and short, Sinyalayi Fubara became governor. Rivers people had their fingers crossed. Up until sometime in September, the 1st September after his inauguration, we had that upsurge. First was the bomb or whatever happened at the Rivers State House Assembly Complex. Next was a scream of, oh, we need to liberate Rivers State. LGAs and the rest of them felt the ripple effect. Now, that shows you, that Rivers people had this belief that the man who sat there in government house, the brick house, who inherited or succeeded Nyesom Wike, was simply Nyesom Wike's extension. And that by whatever he did, you can go back and check the comments on the records, that whatever he did September into October was a liberation. That was the word. Shortly after, we had local government elections. We know how all of that went. He had people that seemed to be, and there was just this belief that, oh, finally he's been, and I asked them, liberated from what? From who? So if at this point the person was viewed to have gone through all these phases had said, I don't want to liberate you people anymore. I don't even want to, let's just end everything on May 29, 2027. Let everything end. Again, I say it leaves us at a point of decision making, and so the ball is in our courts. That's my view.
The ball may happen to be in Rivers people's court, just like you've mentioned, Excel. But this is a very critical moment for a lot of stakeholders. And I want to believe this morning that even with the process being thought over by Governor Siminalayi Fubara, barring any last minute change or one that we may not see coming, because maybe some windows may still exist.
Where?
That's the question.
You are aware that
that's why I said
you are aware that the list of what do you call them?
I'm not talking about APC now.
Brother, window anywhere.
Okay.
Sorry, I got into your thoughts. Are you talking about a window of another candidate from somewhere else? Is that the window you're talking about?
Maybe a movement.
Okay, let us what now, but not.
Let's presume.
Let's presume, right, but not concede. Your thoughts are that maybe,
just maybe,
the governor may,
exactly, but it's not entirely something that a lot of people may actually see as something that can work.
Let's not leave it on the basis of supposition. What does the law say about such movements? Are you aware that INEC has taken receipt of the membership register of parties?
Exactly.
So you're not going to anywhere. But if it has happened, it has happened.
But Excel,
yes,
there are some concrete things to note here, and from what Rivers people have experienced so far, it looks like a wasted 4 years. A wasted 4 years in the exercise of what was, baked to look like governance. Because you have a situation, like you've mentioned, if you go back to the records, feel the pulse of the people that they had expressed earliest. When Governor Siminalayi Fubara came into power, many people were displeased. They felt like, oh, this was just the man we saw dressed behind the FCT minister. He didn't do much of
During
the campaign
he was not being talked
and all of that. How did he emerge and all of that? But he came in more like the shining light that people have been expecting, and the charisma won him some favor.
After the liberation, whatever, attempt.
Exactly. So the charisma won him that favor from the side of Rivers people, and he garnered the love. But again, that disagreement took different turns. Rivers State has lost a lot. The State House of Assembly was not just attacked, it was desecrated. Monies were spent to rebuild that structure into what it is today. There are lives that have been lost in these struggles. Not to talk about the local government elections. Until date, no proper record of how much was actually spent into that local government election that is now what it is in terms of who is administering over what. And then you have an Ibokete Ebas, who sat in for 6 months upon the declaration of a state of emergency by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If Governor Siminalayi Fubara truly saw this through, maybe, like people would say, he would have taken that bow when the ovation was loudest.
Which would have been when?
Which would have been on the expiration of the state of emergency or before it. Because, again, you do not understand what has transpired after he resumed office. Do not forget that the so-called local government election that has now given us some of the misfits that we're experiencing in Rivers State was conducted in his absence.
But legally so.
It depends on what you can define as legality.
There was an executive order at the time. You've forgotten?
And what led to that order? The struggles of tenureship, struggles of it wasn't properly conducted, struggles of the register that wasn't presented, which again, if it had been within the corridors of some people, that would have been overlooked. So I am thinking and also trying to imagine the type of disaster that enveloped what we saw in the last 3 years as an administration. It will go down in history that Rivers State experienced a state of emergency. Not just experienced it, is tied to the name of Siminalayi Fubara. Right now, there are feelers that Dax Alabo Kelly has decided to step aside, and likelihood of having a Michael Chinda. And of course, there is also a disturbance to the arrangement, depending on what the election turns out, of that, maybe you can say natural agreements, or whatever it is, how it panned out in Rivers State between the upland and the riverine. Nobody is thinking about the implication of what this would do to Rivers people ideologically. For crying out loud, the personality and ego of Siminalayi Fubara was badly tempered with.
Do you bring in personality and ego into politics?
Well, some people wield it.
You see, you don't step into a field to play football where people are well kitted and you come in barefooted. Right? If you know, there's one saying I love so much: man, know thyself. To thyself be true. If from his permutations and calculations he was going to be running into murky waters, whatever the agreement was, as a man, he should have let the world know that, or maybe let his principal at the time know that, I don't think I can play this card.
And I even think it's a deception on his path.
In what way?
I'll tell you, till today, no reverse person, except those who may exist within their circle, and that you can classify within the realms of privileged knowledge.
Okay.
Nobody can tell you exactly what the origin of these disagreements had been, rather than the umbrella word of structure, turning Rivers State into a one-man estate. Nothing concrete has been held onto. There are talks around, a certain allocation, a certain limit to his power of operating, how, certain individuals were used to flood the ministries and given some positions. But to even bring it. I hope someday, down history memory lane, somebody would not come out with a memo or a book to start telling Nigerians what they may not care